Okay, let's see if we see the little audio things. And okay, we are live. Okay, welcome back everybody. This is BitDevs Radio Hour number 12. It's Friday, March 6th, 2026. We're broadcasting live from ATL BitLab in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Stephen DeLorme.
I'm Alex Lewin.
How's it going today?
Oh, so stellar. So great.
Yeah, it's like spring weather. It's nice in the city.
It's, I wore shorts and it's like March, which is kind of bizarre. I guess it's not that bizarre.
Yeah, it's just,
It's finally warm.
it's one of the A seasons of Atlanta. You might have just heard that nice little CO2 widget popping from this Guinness draft.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is from our sponsor, Guinness.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They're still sponsoring us.
They're
Incredible.
still sponsoring us, but I think the sponsorship ends after this week. So we're looking for another Bitcoin company to step in and you know, some other company that has as much Bitcoin on the balance sheet as the Guinness company to step in and sponsor these deep discussions on Bitcoin protocol development.
Correct. Yes. Guinness, the Bitcoin company sponsoring Bitcoin open source development, is ending their support of Bitcoin open source development. So we need, other people to step in.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. They buy like a month or two at a time.
Yeah, maybe they'll call us up. And
yeah, I'm sure they will.
Cool.
I think this week is really cool because on Twitter, it doesn't say, welcome to our show. It says, BitDevs Radio Hour.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's crazy what you can do with technology these days.
Yeah, I had to use AI to help me figure it out, but there's apparently like a setting buried inside of another setting, buried inside of another setting where you can actually change the title.
That's incredible.
Really cool. Yeah.
You can change the title of live streams.
I know.
Amazing.
I've been trying to figure that out for like 11 shows now. I finally was able to figure it out.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so what's on the agenda for today?
We've got a bunch of juicy topics involving covenants, or not exactly covenants, but a new cracked out paper from Robin Linus. We have some updates to post-quantum, or the quantum computing debacle. We have a couple of new interesting BIPs to talk about. We have a bunch of new bugs found, updates in the fuzzing world, and the fuzzing work on Bitcoin Core, as well as a recap of the Bitcoin++ exploits edition hackathon, which found a bunch of bugs. We have some Lightning updates, pretty cool eCash update involving the Fedimint SDK, and what else? Yeah, it's no longer the Fedimint Web SDK, now it's the Fedimint SDK.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess React Native isn't technically the web.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. As well as some other news. Where do you want to start?
It's a good question. Maybe we just start at the top with covenants.
Cool. So, like we mentioned, Robin Linus, probably the most prolific researcher, if we can even call him that, the most prolific researcher in Bitcoin these days. He seems like he's responsible for most of the big discoveries of what you can do with Bitcoin. Invented BitVM and Collider script and shielded CSV and a litany of other things.
Actually, I think Collider was somebody else.
I thought it was Andrew Polstra and him.
Oh, okay. Andrew's who I was thinking of. I didn't realize Robin also worked on it too.
Yeah.
We'll fact check that later.
We'll fact check it. Maybe he doesn't get that credit, but he does it again. Binohash, transaction introspection without soft forks. So let's just talk about the title a bit. Transaction introspection without soft forks. Stephen, what is he talking about?
Well, I mean, the way I understand it, when you have like a covenant, it's this restriction that would allow you to control at the consensus level how a coin can be spent. In order to do that, you need introspection. You need a transaction to be able to like reference parts of itself. Like you need a transaction to be able to reference data inside of the transaction itself. Typically, we've always thought this needed a soft fork to be done. There's OpCTV, there's other covenant proposals. They usually involve a soft fork. So that would be novel if we have a way to reliably do that without a soft fork.
Yeah, exactly. Like a bunch of cool applications on Bitcoin that people are excited about are only possible if we add an introspection, the ability to introspect on transactions. And typically, or until now, we assume that all of these would require a soft fork, which is pretty discouraging because soft forks are hard to do. So if we could do transaction introspection without soft forks, then we can have a bunch of super cool applications on Bitcoin without forking. So how does bino hash work? Let's look at the paper. My understanding is that it uses an abuse of the inner workings of opcheck multisig. So like if you want to do a multisig wallet, if you're doing a standard multisig wallet, you're going to be using this opcheck multisig. And due to the implementation details of opcheck multisig, there is this thing called find and delete, which basically when you're checking if a multisig is valid, you might think you have to check like every combination of keys to see if the signature is valid. And that's inefficient, so they have some optimizations to first find and delete the thing. You can make the opcheck multisig operation more efficient. So a piece of code, and it's quirky and call it even buggy. So BinoHash abuses one of the quirks in this find and delete operation to do something similar to the opcat trick of shoving extra data on the stack, and then you can hack in this introspection into opcheck multisig. So it's pretty gnarly. I'm not going to act like I actually understand how it works.
Do you know, is this practical right now? Like, is BinoHash something that somebody could practically do if they wanted to build something involving covenants? Or is it kind of a proof of concept, novel proof of concept to show that it's technically possible?
It is novel and definitely a proof of concept, but it seems somewhat practical. Like they're saying that in order to abuse this trick, you have to grind like a nonce you have to do 44 bits of work, which costs, he estimates, $50 on a modern GPU. So $50 to spend from any address that uses this scheme.
Wait, with bits on using a 2-round nonce extraction. This provides 84 bits collision with honest work with grinding cost of less than $50 on modern cloud GPUs. Huh.
So yeah, like normal transactions, you just sign and you just submit it, so it's free to do that. But with these like super weird, quirky, hacky, like tricks to do covenants, you have to grind to find my understanding, it's like a low entropy nonce. So some data is transferred from the data you're signing to the signature, effectively.
Yeah. Well, again, I'll say it's there's a practical is kind of a spectrum, right? So with Collider was on the highly impractical end of the spectrum.
Correct.
And I think in one of the articles Andrew wrote about it, he basically describes that this is like something you could do if you had a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin or something and you wanted to protect that with a covenant. Because in order to make the Collider script work, I mean, the amount of compute and finding the SHA collisions would be it would only be feasible if you had a ridiculously large stack of Bitcoin.
So no one's going to do it.
Yeah. So that's on the less practical end of the spectrum. The $50 for modern GPU spend is that's achievable. If you wanted to do it and you wanted to spend around $50 on cloud GPUs, you could totally do it. It doesn't make it feasible for the average person. I think unless you I don't know, unless this is being used for some novel use case, again, like protecting somebody's savings or something like that. Or maybe you're using it for in like some kind of like ARC-based setup where you need to, create covenants or whatever to make the ARC server more trustless. So yeah, it's more practical than ColliderScript.
Yeah, but still pretty unrealistic.
Yeah.
For most people. It's cool. Yeah, I think this is like 99% performance art and research rather than
it's really cool.
An idea. Yeah, it's cool that he keeps finding these quirks. Like, yeah, the number of people that understand object multisig like well enough to understand that there is a quirky find and delete function, and then to understand the quirkiness of find and delete to find this is like very, very few people would understand that this is a place to look and then be creative enough to go looking. So yeah, it's cool that we have those kinds of people.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, so let's go to the next one. That's Binohash. Post-quantum. I love talking about quantum computing, so let's talk about it some more. That's a good use of our time as developers to prepare for quantum computers breaking Bitcoin. So let's prepare. So we have a new scheme: post-quantum provers for pay to public key hash outputs. So
this is by Kurbatov. Yeah, I might be mispronouncing that.
Could be Oy Kurbatov or OL or O1.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Well, this is I'm not going to get into the cryptography side of this because it's a little bit too deep for me. But at a conceptual level, what it's trying to accomplish is interesting. You hear a lot of times people talking about the pay-to-public key vulnerabilities, like the Satoshi coins, the very, very early keys, or the very, very early Bitcoin outputs. These were just, these were pay-to-public key outputs. Like they weren't even being sent to Bitcoin addresses. They were being sent directly to public key because it's believed that once we have a post-quantum computer, and we're going to, all the public keys, in any exposed public key is, they're going to be able to reverse engineer that to get the private key. Mm-hmm. So then that leaves the next kind of address type to be unleashed upon the blockchain is pay-to-public key hash. These are where the address is a hash of the public key. Now, again, in the early days, people were just reusing addresses. This was before HD wallets were invented and before you had this whole nesting, like where you could have one private key that generates child private keys and therefore many different addresses. You had a lot of address reuse. So there's a lot of pay-to-public key hashes, addresses that are really just being reused. So the idea is if somebody goes back to spend one of those coins, when they broadcast a transaction spending that coin, they're going to once the public key is revealed, it then it makes any other coins in that address vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, something to note is this is just for pay-to-pub key hash outputs. There is also pay-to-pub key outputs, which predate P2PKH.
That's what I was talking about before.
Yeah. Those are screwed.
Yeah, those are screwed.
Yeah, there is no saving those. So this is just this other type of legacy address type that.
Yeah. These are the ones that begin with the number one. So I think another angle to consider is it's not just address reuse from the early days of Bitcoin. You also have to consider that let's say I have a pay-to-public key public transaction. I'm revealing my public key in that transaction that's broadcast. It hits the mempool, and before it gets mined, some malicious miner with a quantum computer sees that transaction in the mempool, takes the public key, reverses the private key, and then spends the transaction for themselves before my transaction could be mined.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that gets pretty dark. So yeah, that's the whole idea of this delving post here is trying to come up with a way that somebody can prove that they have the public key without actually revealing it in the transaction. So like, generating a proof of existence without revealing it.
Also without signing it directly, like making a signature. Like it's easy to prove that you have access to a pub key without showing it because you can just sign something. Or I guess, no, there's no way to tie that back to the hash. Never mind. Yeah, you still have to like show the pub key.
Yeah, that's the problem, because it's not that the signature is the point of compromise. It's that once you reveal the public key, like you can check that the signature matches the pub key, and that's fine in like an ordinary crypto system. But it's that revealing the public key is itself a vulnerability in this post quantum world.
Yeah.
And so you need a way to check a signature against a public key without knowing the public key.
And they do this in zero knowledge. So yeah, a zero knowledge proof that you can make a signature without actually signing anything.
I think the summary is worth maybe getting into at the end of his delving post. Earlier, provides some benchmarks on various different systems like STWO, Cairo, Ligero, RISC-0. The summary says, these benchmarks suggest that client-side Stark proving of pay-to-public key hash ownership is approaching feasibility, but proof sizes. Our early pre-optimization benchmarks show the proof size ranged from 5.6 megabytes, that's an STWO Cairo, to 10 megabytes, that's SP1, for the pay-to-public key hash related proofs. These are fine for off-chain registries, but far too large for anything on-chain. Obviously, 5.6 megabytes, that would be larger than the limit of a block, even factoring in signatures and SegWit discount and all that. The next point he makes is these proofs are useful for external registries linking Bitcoin addresses to post-quantum addresses, or for future Covenant designs, but not for direct on-chain PQ migration without protocol changes. And then even 8 seconds on an M2 Max is a lot of computation, especially for low-powered signing devices like hardware wallets. So it's like approaching feasibility. It's like the kind of thing you could do on like an M2 chip or something like that on like a modern Mac. But when we start to think about like hardware devices and like low power signing devices, the idea kind of starts to fall apart. So more work needed, but interesting research.
Yeah. Any thoughts of if this is a good idea, or if this is like worth a problem worth solving?
I mean, that gets at the whole root of quantum computing to begin with, right? It's like I think my stance on it is that I'm skeptical of the whole field of quantum computing to begin with, but I'm glad that people are working on it. It just seems like one of those things where like it's good to target intelligence at the problem just in case.
Yeah. Since we talked about that Peter Wola article, talking about the problems with Bitcoin, or the problems with upgrading Bitcoin's cryptography, I kind of can't think about any of these proposals like in any other light. Like if Bitcoin is, if the elliptic curve cryptography is compromised like credibly, then like what are we doing? Like the pay to pub key outputs have dramatically more Bitcoin than any of the pay to pub key hash outputs. So like this is saving your foot, or like what is it? It's like sawing off your leg to save your foot. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah. Peter's paper from the last time on the show, and if I could just paraphrase lightly, and I might miss some of the finer points here, but effectively that like were there to be the need to upgrade Bitcoin to some kind of post-quantum cryptography, the kind of social divide of trying to reach consensus would be so difficult that it would basically tear Bitcoin apart. which is not something we can easily prove. It's more of a guess at the social layer, but kind of getting into the idea that like, if you believe that Bitcoin needs a new crypto system for post-quantum, then you need everybody to upgrade. Otherwise, the vulnerable coins create an economic disaster that tanks the value of your asset, and vice versa. If you think that the novel crypto system is then you don't want anybody upgrading it because you think that that's going to tank Bitcoin. And so just like the desire, everyone's desire to have Bitcoin not be tanked, just creates this like hostile fork environment. And
yeah, I mean, he also like mentions in the post, like in addition just to the community being unable to decide things like this, he said like in order to like actually make Bitcoin survive, like you would have to effectively confiscate a bunch of people's coins because it's going to be impossible to get everybody to move.
Yeah.
And then by confiscating those people's coins, you compromise the very properties of Bitcoin, make it interesting. So he's like, yeah, if we would have to do this in order to save Bitcoin from quantum computers, and if we do that, Bitcoin's no longer interesting to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of can't think about this in any other way. Hence the kind of sarcasm or cynicism at the beginning.
Yeah. No, I heard it.
Cool. Do you want to talk about the next quantum proposal?
Yeah. And this is the Hourglass V2 update. This one, we've talked about it at Atlanta BitDevs before, but never here on the show. So this is an updated Hourglass proposal to the Bitcoin development mailing list. In response to feedback, the Hourglass proposal to mitigate against potential mass liquidations of pay-to-public key funds has been enhanced to further limit spend amounts from such outputs to only 1 Bitcoin per block. And he links to the updated BIP right here. Authors of this one are Hunter Beast and Mike Casey. So I think in the original version of this, like the idea was to limit these spends to like only 1 output per block. The whole idea with this was that like they're kind of getting into this idea of like if somebody reverse engineered invented a quantum computer, what kind of incentives they would have to tip their hand or not. And so the idea being that like, okay, you have all this Bitcoin on chain, and if you invent the quantum computer, you might withhold that and like not tip your hand that you've actually done it.
Yeah, like what if a nefarious actor got a quantum computer, then hid the fact that they had the quantum computer while they broke a bunch of addresses so that they could all at once announce to the world that they've broken cryptography and steal more money. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so the Hourglass thing was like, okay, like let's limit it to 1 output per block originally, with the idea that it actually, because like you can only get 1 pay-to-public key output per block, it makes it so that it slows you down like an hourglass, 1 little piece of sand going through at a time. So what that ends up doing is that because you're slowed down, you're actually incentivized to tip your hand earlier and go ahead and start stealing coins so that you can spend it. And so that way we actually know that we're in the post-quantum age.
Yeah. So the idea is as soon as the world knows that quantum computers actually can break Bitcoin, then Bitcoin will soon upgrade itself to stop the quantum computers from stealing all the coins. So yeah, we want people to tell us, to reveal to the world as soon as possible that they've broken it rather than sitting on it. So
and this change switches it from like 1 output to being 1 Bitcoin per block.
Yeah.
So 1 BTC per block.
The thought being is it's still pretty bad if you're spending 1 of Satoshi's outputs, 1 of his 50 Bitcoin outputs every block. And it's not that bad if you spend 20 10 sat outputs. So anywho, more thoughts about protocols that will never get adopted. Sorry, Mike.
All right, where should we go next?
Okay, that was kind of heavy. Maybe we go to something lighter? Or we could go straight to bit drafts of the super technical things, or we could go to something lighter.
Yeah. What's some? Let's pull up something light. What's good?
Let's talk about the React Native support merged in the Fediment SDK. That's pretty light. So Alex Lewin on X announces that React Native support is merged in the Fediment SDK, official release coming soon. So this is pretty cool. So yeah, what Lewin is talking about is that's
like all I have to do to make you talk in third person is just write your name in a Google Doc.
Correct. Yeah, you control me. Yeah, so for maybe about 2 years ago, we started working on the Fediment SDK. It used to be named the Fediment Web SDK, and the idea was we wanted a toolkit to make it easy to develop Fediment wallets. And we started with the web because it's much simpler to make a developer kit for websites. So we made the Fediment Web SDK that allowed you to have a Fediment wallet in the browser. So you could have like a browser-based wallet and store eCache in it and inherit all of the nice security properties and privacy properties that Fediment has to offer, but you can do it in a nice developer experience where front-end web developers are familiar with. So one of the first requests that we got after dropping this was to add support for React Native. So the most popular front-end framework in the world is arguably React, and there is another framework that uses React called React Native for making mobile apps. So you can still write JavaScript and JSX and TSX, and you can make mobile apps. So this PR is now finally adding React Native support for the Fediment SDK. This is a ton of work. We have to take our Rust code. Going from Rust to WASM, which is required for web, is like relatively simple. There's a lot of tooling out there for it. Going from Rust to native modules is much more tricky, and it's much newer. So we're using like these super new like cutting edge libraries from Mozilla to go from Rust to native bindings, so like C++ native bindings for React Native, and then building the Swift and Kotlin glue on top of it, and then the JavaScript glue. So yeah, it's very complicated. It was a ton of effort. Massive shout out to our summer Bitcoin intern and current BitShala fellow, Mr. Immortal 09, for through the challenges of building Rust into native apps. But yeah, super excited this is finally merged after he's been working on this for maybe like 6 or 8 months.
Wow.
So huge. Yeah, there's no official release yet, but you can download the pre-release you can download this React Native package and then immediately have a working Fediment in your mobile app. So
That's awesome.
yeah, thank you. Very excited about this.
Yeah, I have no questions on it other than it's cool.
Sweet.
I liked the Fediment Web SDK. I've used it before on React, and so that's cool. We can use it on the React Native now. Instantly give iOS and Android support.
Yeah,
I feel bad for all the people who had to develop for Fediment the old-fashioned way.
in Rust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like, building their own stuff. I mean, there's been plenty of apps, I know like, I think it was Future Paul and Tony and some others worked on like a very early Fediment wallet in like 2022, I think.
So Mutiny?
No, it's before Mutiny.
Before Mutiny?
Yeah, there's like one that I remember like we talked about it, I think we had like a design panel at TabConf 2022, and I think he was showing off a little bit on the design panel. I think it was made in Flutter, maybe.
Fluttermint.
Yeah.
Fluttermint. So that was like the precursor to Fedi.
I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was external to Fedi, the company, but
I think Justin Moon was involved at that point.
okay, cool. Yeah, and then obviously the Mutiny wallet, and the Mutiny wallet ended up supporting Fediment, and so yeah, there's been multiple like Fediment wallets. It's just everyone who was early kind of had to do it the hard way.
Yeah, and the hard way is inaccessible by like the 99% of developers. Yeah, massive pain in the ass. Yeah, so the goal of this stuff is to hopefully inspire more people to build on Fediments.
And easier for vibe coders too. Once you have like a library and you've abstracted away some of the more complicated things into a library, it just makes it super easy for vibe coders.
Yeah, I've been meaning to find time to test out like using vibe coding tools with this library.
I remember when Replit Agent came out, it was like so novel and interesting, and we tested it out together with the Fediment Web SDK.
Yeah.
We'll have to like do a sequel to that, but with now Replit supports iOS development.
Oh, cool.
Oh, but it might be native. Like it might not be
Swift.
React Native. It might be like Swift.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, and coming soon, like Ohm's next project, I think he'll be back for Summer Bitcoin. He's going to build Swift and Kotlin bindings as well. So
Awesome.
Yep. Super cool.
All right, what next?
Let's go. Maybe let's resume where we were.
Yeah, BIPs and protocol proposals.
Back into the salt mines of technical Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We got that brief breath of fresh air from a non-technical topic, like talking about the differences between different Rust build targets. And now we get to go back into the salt mines. Talk about version bits on Bitcoin transactions.
Yeah. Well, this one's a little bit on the mining side, which I think people find pretty interesting. This has got a post from Matt Corallo on the mailing list here.
10th known contributor to Bitcoin Core.
Yeah. So this is a draft BIP. Obviously unnumbered. The title is 24 inversion bits for general purpose use. Okay, so the basic idea is, when a miner is trying to find a block, it's trying to find a nonce that will, satisfy the proof of work algorithm. Now, it's not uncommon for a miner to iterate through all possible values and still not find a solution to the nonce. So in modern times, we have BIP 320. These allow 16 bits of the inversion field and the block header to be used for nonce grinding. The idea is that if you can't find a solution to the nonce on the first pass, you just tweak the bits inside of the inversion field, and then you try again. And you just keep grinding until you eventually find a solution. It turns out that 16 bits are not enough. As Matt describes in the motivation, it turns out that some devices have started using 7 bits from the end time for extra nonce space. And he links to a discussion in the Stratum v2 spec discussion. It says, given there's limited utility in 16 bits of inversion space for signaling, instead, here we offer 24 bits of inversion space as extra nonce space. So when he says they're using 7 bits from end time, pretty sure that means they're tweaking the timestamp in order to have to, just be able to find a solution to the block.
Yeah, this is like a kind of little known fact about like mining, or about how like Bitcoin works, is that there is a timestamp field. So like, how do we make sure that there's only one block every 10 minutes? Like, well, we have difficulty adjustments. So we track how many blocks are mined in a certain amount of like wall clock time, and then we adjust based on the network's like speed at doing that. But how do we get the wall clock time into the system? Well, we have this timestamp field, and there's a bunch of really arcane rules about how a timestamp, like what a valid timestamp would be. So you can put a timestamp that's like within. Do you remember like what the range is? Like
I don't remember the range, but like it's a little bit squishy because it's like there's no way to know exactly like the universal time that every miner is operating.
Yeah, but it's like plus, or if I remember, it's something like plus or minus like 2 hours from the median block time of the last 10 blocks or something like weird. So that means is that you can propose any timestamp that satisfies that constraint and it's still a valid block. So they're using all of the bits that they can inside of that timestamp field, so that they're basically using the millisecond field, call it, in order to grind more.
And certainly, like we've talked about the great consensus cleanup before on the show, like there's certainly ways that, theoretically well-capitalized miner could abuse that for a time warp attack. But I think, more often than not, when you see, funny stuff going on with the timestamp, it's probably miners just trying to, nunce grind.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's, so it's kind of like a messy aspect. So, mass proposing, why don't we just give them more bits? And they're basically, it should be backwards compatible, says in the BIP. Non-upgraded nodes will interpret the reserved bits of this proposal as signals for soft forks and may additionally activate the warning system for unknown soft forks. So it's like basically some of the version bits that we might use to signal for soft forks are, under this proposal, being given to the inversion field. Now, let's unpack that a little bit because it sounds a little bit scary there. Non-upgraded nodes will interpret the reserved bits of the proposal as signals for soft forks and may additionally activate the warning system for unknown soft forks. So it's like, if somebody were to, if there was some soft fork we didn't know about, that wasn't advertised, online, and people were signaling that with obscure version bits, then that would trigger the warning, system for that. Like it would be kind of like the miner signaling that they support that soft fork. So that's the only thing. But it's also I kind of don't see that happening of people trying to, I don't know. It doesn't seem like something to really worry about. I can't imagine if you're trying to signal for a soft fork, you want to do that in a coordinated way.
Yeah.
So you want to do that in a public way so that you can actually coordinate about it. Says at the time of writing, no known soft forks are pending using any of 24 bits reserved in this BIP. And given that a non-trivial percentage of the hash rate is already making use of those bits, future soft forks should not utilize those bits for activation signaling. So
yeah, I mean, it's not like the version signaling actually does anything. It's just for people to gather feedback from the community, and then everybody pulls the trigger at once, right?
Are you talking about version, or are you talking about the
signaling bits?
The signaling bits. Well, it depends on how the soft fork is architected, but I mean I think the idea with I'm pretty sure with Taproot it happened based on there being bits already in there.
I thought the voting is separated from the activation height. You vote, and then after you vote, then you set an activation height. And then the nodes automatically switch over, and there's a disconnect between the voting result and the activation. That's my understanding.
Okay, we should check on that.
Yeah. So yeah, the worst. I think what he's describing is the worst thing that could happen is some people get an alert on their phone because of some bespoke software that that detects people voting on soft forks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems relatively inconsequential. Just a note, I think it's super impressive that Matt is still offering protocol proposals for things in mining. I mean, his whole career for the past, decade-ish has been Lightning. And he's still in tune enough with the mining things to solve the problems for miners.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
All right. Draft BIP, output script descriptors annotations.
That's a tongue twister. Output script descriptor. Output script descriptor.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but let's break this down. So this is posted to the Bitcoin dev mailing list by Craig Rawl, maintainer of a Sparrow wallet. I can't remember if we talked about it last episode or not. I think we did. He had posted a silent payment output script descriptor. So basically the idea of a descriptor is this kind of, it's a description. It's a description of the information you need to restore a Bitcoin wallet. If you need to restore it from backup. Yeah. A lot of people like to say, well, there's, all you need is the seed phrase. Not true. In addition to the seed phrase or the private key, if you really want to restore it accurately, there's other, information you need too, like the derivation path, for example. And just kind of so the derivation path is very critical. And output descriptors help provide these, formal descriptions of what type of wallet you're trying to restore to make that process easier. So he had proposed earlier making one for silent payments, this new like privacy address format that people have been building with. And there's a problem they run into with silent payments, and it's, as he describes it, due to the resource-intensive scanning requirements of the protocol, some metadata, for example, the birthday block height, may be practically required for efficient recovery of wallet funds. So with silent payments, you're having to basically scan the blockchain and try to like decrypt outputs to see if they belong to you or not. That's part of the how the privacy of it works. But the problem is that if you have to go back and scan, if you don't know when your wallet was created, the birthday of the wallet, you have to go back all the way back in time and scan all outputs since Taproot was merged in. That's problematic, and it's time and compute intensive. So if you know the birthday, you can fix that. So he was saying, okay, we should add that into the silent payment descriptor, and then thought we should just add this to any type of wallet. It's handy to know the birthday for a lot of things, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so like some other like parts of Bitcoin's ecosystem has like adopted different standards to have a wallet birthday. Like this is not a new concept. Like one thing specifically is LND. LND, in order to make, I think it's like rescanning on-chain more efficient, is they have a seed format called AEZ, or AEZ, maybe there's a number at the end.
Yeah, it's like AEZEED, I think, something.
Yeah.
It's a weird name.
And that's just like a data format for having a private key plus like a birth date plus like some metadata.
Yeah. But the thing is that like they invented their own like 24-word seed phrase format, and I think and that's fine, I guess. But I think what Craig is getting at here is like you don't necessarily need like your own seed phrase format. You could just do this with a descriptor. And I should say that what he's talking about goes deeper than just birthday here. He describes this as a key value format, and so like if you look at it on screen there, it's like it says it has the form script ? Key equals value and key equals value. For all your web developers out there, it looks like a URL.
Or for all of you web users out there that have looked at the URL bar before.
People don't look at the URL bar.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody's ever seen a URL before. Yeah.
All the browsers now abstract it. Like Safari just shows you the domain name and hides everything else.
But if you click like a link in an email
Yeah.
and look at the URL bar, it'll be full of these things.
Yeah. Anyways, so basically it's just like that. And another thing he proposed that you could put in there is like the gap limit, which is like basically how far you need to scan the blockchain. And this is something that comes up all the time with BTC Pay Server, actually. If you make a wallet for BTC Pay Server, so what happens is, let's say you set up a BTC Pay Server store and you load in your XPub so that your web store can generate fresh on-chain addresses for every order. A lot of wallets have a gap limit because a single like Bitcoin private key could generate like millions of addresses, right? But it's very compute intensive to scan every single address. So there's like this gap limit where you like scan, and it depends on the wallet, but maybe you scan like 100 addresses into the future and then stop, or maybe you just scan 20 and then stop. Problem with BTC Pay Server is people go to the store, they click leave a tip or I want to buy this item, and then BTC Pay pulls up an on-chain address and then it never gets paid. And then because it never gets paid, BTC Pay can never reuse that address, because if a payment were received to that address at some point, it needs to associate it with whatever order. So this happens all the time. You will end up with a BTC Pay wallet that has like 100, 200 unused addresses, and then suddenly there's Bitcoin. So you'll recover your BTC Pay wallet in like Blue Wallet or something, and it'll be like, oh my God, my balance is 0. What's going on? And it's just because of the gap limit. But yeah, if there was just a descriptor format that just had the gap limit in, that would be super cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, this stuff feels like it belongs in the wallet descriptor. Like the descriptor is everything that isn't the key. So this stuff is like data that's relevant to the wallet. That's not the key. It seems like a very
Yeah,
natural
exactly.
fit. I don't know how I feel about this, like the usage of the web, like query params feels a bit odd. Um, Like maybe it fits. Like I don't know. People were doing this, or like BIP. What's Matt's BIP that you like?
BIP 21.
BIP
Or
21.
321 is in modern times.
Yeah. The newly named BIP 321 also does this, and which like yeah.
Well,
maybe it works.
No, I see the issue you're highlighting here. And to be fair, BIP 21 and BIP 321, well, BIP 21 was meant to be like a URL. Like it was, at the time that it was created, it's like, hey, here's a URL. You can make a link on a website that says, click here to pay me. And then you click it and it opens up a Bitcoin wallet. So it actually makes a lot of sense. It's the same way that you have tell : that's a URL format, or mail to : it's similar ideas. So I think understood in its original context, BIP 21 is a URL very much like a website, a mail to, etc. But yes, this isn't like a URL. It's not a uniform resource locator. It's not a uniform resource indicator. It's
just an encoding. Like
yeah, so it is kind of like that. That is a good point. Like, why doesn't it just use like why isn't it formatted the way that the rest of the descriptor stuff is formatted?
Yeah, like comma. Maybe it actually like fits. I was trying to think of like what I would suggest otherwise. Like maybe there's a more efficient thing that like doesn't use these like weird characters, but I don't know. Might seem fine. Like
Well, I would say my stance on this is concept act on what Craig is proposing here. Does it need to be in URL format? I don't know. I remain undecided and on the exact format that it should take. But yes, I think the idea, what he's trying to do, is useful and makes sense.
agree.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think it's funny. They use an anchor tag for the checksum. So like they use a hashtag. So it's like this is like these are all from like URLs normally. It's like question mark is the beginning of the query params, and then you have and percent separating the query params, and these are like the key values. And then if you want something called anchor tags are like things you don't want to get sent to the server. Then you follow. You put it like a hashtag, and then put the anchor tags. But I don't know. I think it's like interesting that he's using all of the same language, but for like different purposes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, also concept back.
Yeah. Cool. Where should we go next?
Let's talk about security and testing. So,
Yeah.
a few different things going on. Core issue: keeping Bitcoin core secure.
Bitcoin Magazine has a core issue now. Every issue they do has like a different theme overall.
Is it like the central issue, or is it the Bitcoin core issue, the issue with Bitcoin core?
Issue is like the issue of the magazine.
Oh, so it's neither of the things that I said.
I was confused by what you said, to be honest.
Which core are they talking about?
They're talking about Bitcoin Core.
Okay. See, this could also be read as like the central issue, like the most important issue.
Oh, yeah.
If you read it. But no, it's the Bitcoin core issue, as in the core calling like the software project.
Yeah, because they have like the Lightning issue, the core issue, the El Salvador issue, yada, yada, yada.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just, honestly, I just added this article because I'm happy that they're doing a core issue. I think that's very cool. And it's kind of like, why did it take so long?
This is cool. This is very timely with the conference that we're about to talk about. It's all about, the like fuzzing and I mean, this was written by Dergogi, who has been working on fuzzing and Bitcoin security for like the security of Bitcoin Core for quite some time.
Yeah, but he just writes about the vulnerability disclosure process and how that all works, fuzzing infrastructure, quality assurance, all that good stuff. So give it a read if you're unfamiliar with that stuff.
Cool.
And then on the subject of fuzzing, actually, same author made a dashboard to track fuzzing progress on Bitcoin Core.
Oh, different author. This is Bruno.
No. The one below that. Same author. Fuzzing dashboard. See? Right below that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. Dergogi also made.
Yeah, I'm going out of order.
A dashboard. All good. That there is a light mode for. Let's go. So this is kind of neat. You can see all of the different fuzzing campaigns. So quick background, fuzzing is a kind of testing for software projects. We talked a bit about it before. Most of the time, if you're writing tests, you describe some feature in code, you describe how it should work, and then you run it against, then you run the test. But fuzzing is a different strategy where you just run the software as is, and you put in a bunch of junk in the inputs, and then you see if the software crashes. So you're basically brute forcing the software to try to find crash bugs. And this is something that has recently been focused on in Bitcoin Core, and it's found a bunch of bugs. This is a dashboard to track their progress of finding bugs.
On the front page, it's like there's like 5 running currently. So you do this. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, just with fuzzing, by its very nature, you're constantly grinding through. They're called fuzz targets. Like you're grinding through the fuzz targets to brute force the software to find the bug. So practically for open source projects, I think Google has puts a ton of infrastructure into just fuzzing all of these random open source cryptography libraries because they rely on them, and if they have a bug, they need to fix them. So they just have to find supercomputers and run these nonstop and hope the bugs get spat out, and magically they do. It's such a mindfuck that this actually works.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah. So for the other one, you were talking about writing fuzz targets for wallets, avoiding known issues.
Yeah, so Bruno is a Brazilian developer. He's been doing a lot of the leg lifting for adding fuzzing to Bitcoin Core. He talks about some of the specific challenges that he has had structuring these fuzz targets, like we were talking about.
And specifically, his article is fuzz targets for wallets.
Writing fuzz targets for wallets, avoiding known issues. So what's the premise of what he talks about, Stephen?
Well, he's just saying that, in general, when you're fuzzing a wallet, it's going to be different than other types of applications because they have cryptographic operations. They depend on the chain state. He is just kind of laying out the best practices for how to make the fuzz targets for for Bitcoin wallets as opposed to other types of stuff. Like one section he has is about mocking the fee estimator, so that fee estimation is a really important part of a wallet, and so you need to mock that when you're fuzzing.
It's interesting. It's he talks about. I'm just reading it now. Descriptors can be pretty expensive to check the validity of. This isn't a security issue. It's not a denial of service issue because only a user that creates a descriptor needs to check the descriptor. So, however, the software can trivially be denial of service if you try to check a descriptor that's too big. It's never going to happen because, again, only the user that creates a descriptor would ever care to. So, but for fuzzing, when you're putting random junk in, you could totally accidentally denial of service attack your software. So you have to check to see if the descriptor is going to be too expensive to check, and then you just don't fuzz that. You want to get to doing this function recursively 50,000 times.
Yeah, just not productive.
Yep, you're just not likely to find bugs there. So you want the fuzz targets to actually find interesting parts of the code base that could have bugs. Yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah. Cool.
All right, where should we go next?
Thumbs up. On the theme of security, let's keep going. So this is a super exciting development, just fuzzing generally. A bunch of bugs have been found, and a bunch of new developers are getting into Bitcoin that are attracted to fuzzing in large part because of Bruno's leadership. So last week we had a conference in Brazil that was exploits themed. So Bitcoin++ exploits edition was a conference focused on fuzzing and security. And actually all of these guys that authored these papers were here, were at the conference. We did, like all of the Bitcoin++ events, we do a hackathon. And for this hackathon, we had a slightly different format than we have in the past. Usually with hackathons, it is an open-ended competition just to build something new with software, like just build a new software project. But with this hackathon, we had like two different tracks. The first track was building a new project, and the second track was a bug bounty program of where your project during the 24-hour hackathon could have been just to look for and find new bugs in existing open source projects. So this was interesting. We were actually like very concerned that nobody would be able to find bugs, like meaningful bugs in real projects in the 22 hours that the hackathon ran. But we were pleasantly surprised when people found like over 10 real bugs in real open source libraries, which is kind of ridiculous. That in 22 hours, people found meaningful bugs that are going to get patched, which is kind of crazy, like super, super insane. If you're interested in checking out all of the projects or the recap of the hackathon, you can go to the loot.fund page. So if you go to loot.fund, this is a new hackathon platform from the guys who make geyser.fund. So loot.fund is a hackathon platform. You can see all of the projects, but I've picked out a few to highlight. Yeah, any questions before we dive in?
No, go for it.
Cool. So let's start with the first place project. This was called Minesploit. Minesploit is a tool. It's kind of a riff off of Metasploit. So if you're in the offensive security world, you've probably heard of Metasploit, which is a piece of software to execute known attacks against servers. So if you're hired if you're like a security professional and you get hired by a company to go test the security of a system, you just want to run all of the known attacks out there very quickly to test to see if any of the known attacks can break the system. So this is Minesploit. It's like Metasploit, except it's targeting miners. And they built this, and I think they found in the 22 hours 3 real bugs in Stratum v2, the Stratum v2 repo.
Wow.
It's kind of freaking crazy. Yeah, like, so they handsomely won the hackathon. Yeah, Metasploit-like framework for, and REPL, so read, eval, print loop for white hat hackers on Bitcoin mining. I wish they put so that they have this list of exploits that it runs, and just using this list. They said that they had ideas for a bunch more that they could add, but they just using this list, they found 3 real vulnerabilities in Stratum v2 libraries.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, so they won the overall competition. Next project is super sick. It's called Local Probe. This was by, what's his name? B10C.
Oh, yeah.
So open source Spiral grantee, or a Spiral funded guy, and OpenSats grantee. Sorry, he's an OpenSats grantee, but he's a Bitcoin Core developer and works on a lot of monitoring and analytics inside of Bitcoin Core. So he built something called Local Probe, which shows a denial of service vulnerability in Bitcoin Core that is exploitable by a browser. So if you're running a browser and go to a malicious website, then and you have a Bitcoin Core node on the same computer, then theoretically this website can just boot your node off and clog up your peers.
What?
Which is insane. So like this is a demonstration of, like, you can see the number of evictions growing, or the number of inbound connections and your peers getting evicted. So this is a Firefox only problem. So Firefox, for some reason, allows people to effectively port scan, send random web requests to all of the ports in your system if you're running Firefox.
What? Like, you could do that in JavaScript?
Correct. You can write JavaScript. So this is what on the site This website has detected you're running a Bitcoin node on the same machine as your browser. Any website can probe localhost ports in Firefox. Detected a mainnet node, a signet node, a reg test node, and in his demo, he even had a Tor node. They could see all of it.
Holy crap.
So I clipped I found the clip of the video. This is just from his presentation.
I promise. Now we see a bunch of people have standed, and we have evicted 3 connections from one.
So he ran this on his machine on his laptop while running a Bitcoin Core node, and then had a QR code for everybody in the audience to go to this website to basically spam his laptop with connections, and you can see it.
My notes, now it's 4.
It works.
So using the same technique, now it's 5. We can evict actually through the browser. If I send you a link, or if someone sends you a link,
this is crazy.
You can point your connection from your phone, from your laptop, to someone remote node, and evict connections there.
So this is what he pulled up, this privacy notice. This website could detect all of these nodes running on his laptop.
Wow.
Yeah, mainnet, signet, reg test, Tor.
Oh my God.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So,
real project. He said that he actually wasn't sure if he would be able to show this on stage to everybody, but thankfully Dergogi was at the conference, and he's the expert in disclosure, and said that it's actually fine because Bitcoin Core knows this is an issue, and they have safeguards to make sure that you have a few protected peers. So if you get most of your peers get booted off, then it won't boot off the last couple. So it's still bad. What he's showing is that this can happen in a freaking browser, which is insane. But it's not an actual existential threat, so he can still show it.
Also seems like more of an issue with Firefox than anything.
Correct. It's insane that Firefox allows this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to him afterwards. This is probably the most interesting and potentially dangerous thing that he would have been allowed to demonstrate on stage. This is a weird combo of it's actually kind of crazy and bad,
yeah,
but it's safe to show on stage. So he perfectly found the line. Any other thoughts?
What was the? Yeah, I mean, let's dig into that a little bit more. Just this whole idea of trying to do a hackathon while also dealing with potentially dangerous security vulnerabilities. Was there anybody who was just I'm going to tell you kind of what I did, but I'm not really going to show it to you because that's insecure? What was that balancing all of this?
Yeah, so we put a lot of thought into this. Honestly, it was it was nerve-wracking to tell people to do this because we wanted to cover our own ass to make sure that we weren't liable for anything, but also just we didn't want to get a bad reputation for inspiring people to hack people. So we put a lot of emphasis in the kickoff, as well as in the rules and in the judging criteria, that you would be judged heavily on your practice of responsible disclosure. Mm-hmm. As a part of your project, everybody that did the bug bounty thing, if they found anything, they had to first reach out, before they even present, reach out to the maintainers of the software and get permission to show it on stage. And practice responsible disclosure. And a big part of the judging criteria was your professionalism and and doing responsible disclosure.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
And then we also had clearly in the rules that if you didn't do responsible disclosure properly, or you were irresponsible in any way that the judges deem irresponsible, then you'd get disqualified on the spot. So thankfully nobody found anything that was so dangerous on live systems that it couldn't be presented, but people did find real things that needed to be patched.
Wow.
So super cool. So that was, okay, I picked out 5. So that was the first 2. The third place wasn't this was not actually related to exploits, but just a really cool project. This is called C12D, which is an AI assistant for Bitcoin network monitoring. So they have a dashboard with a bunch of cool analytics of nodes. So the idea is you hook up this dashboard to your Bitcoin node, and then you can see a bunch of interesting logs, but then you have a chatbot to ask questions about what you're seeing in real time. So this is the P2P logs, and it's okay, so first, by default, the chatbot has a message saying, introduce this chart to me briefly, what it measures, what to look for in the live stream of Bitcoin Core debug logs with grep filter. And then it explains that this chart displays a live stream of Bitcoin Core's debug logs filtered by specific keywords. The log provides insights into the internal workings of Bitcoin nodes, or of your Bitcoin node, including network activity, error messages, and operational events. When observing this chart, look for unusual messages, frequent warnings, or unexpected network connections, as these may indicate issues or anomalies in the node's performance. So that's kind of cool. But we can do cooler things like ask specifically like about like data that we're seeing. So we can say like what does this address mean? Is this a Bitcoin address? It's not. It's a Tor address, but we can show this, and then it's able to see the logs. It's like, oh no, it's a .onion address, and then it's a port number used for Bitcoin nodes over the P2P network. So I think this is super cool, like as an educational tool.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of different things you can explore. Yeah, very impressive. One thing just about hackathons, like an overall observation is because of AI, like hackathon projects are getting way better.
Yeah.
So much better. Like this might have been the first 24-hour, like 24-ish hour hackathon that we did post AI. Like we've been doing these like short 2-3 hour hackathons. This one was like a full 24 with AI. So people went super hard.
What about the one in Austin?
Was that one 24 hours?
Yeah.
Never mind. It is not the first, but this one was exceptionally good. This is the first one post Opus 4.6.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyhow, super cool.
Yeah, I mean, with 24 hours in AI, it's like you have no excuse.
No excuse. And like you can do so much. Like you can get to basically like a real working, polished product. The next one is a team called Alpin Fuzzing. So Alpin Labs, the guys that make the roll-up, or like the Glock-based roll-up. They had a challenge to find bug bounties, or to find bugs in their software. And this team used fuzzing, like we were talking about, to find real bugs. This one's noteworthy because they actually found a real crash bug that a professional security auditing firm missed like 3 weeks ago. Like 3 weeks before this, they had a professional security auditor come in that they paid a ton of money for and go through their software to find bugs like this, and they missed it. And they found this, and the head maintainer of the software was there and confirmed that like, yeah, this is embarrassing that the auditing firm couldn't find this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, and a freaking hackathon.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the guys that did this, they've been working on like fuzzing and Bitcoin for a while. Like this guy is the head of the Lightning Fuzz project, Eric.
Wow.
Then this last project to feature is called Stealth by Brano, prolific hacker in Bitcoin. He created a project to audit your wallet to check to see how stealthy or exposed your UTXOs are. So there are these like good practices that people should follow about managing your Bitcoin, like not reusing addresses, and if you have any like non-KYC coins, not mixing those with your KYC coins, et cetera, et cetera. So he created a tool to help you audit your wallet and determine how stealthy your coins are. So.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of really good projects.
Thank you for bringing back the 24-hour hackathon format.
Well, it's not a permanent change.
I know, but at least for this one. I wasn't there, but thank you for bringing it back.
You like the 24-hour ones better?
Yeah, I don't like all the like. I love that you experiment with hackathons, but I didn't like all the like really super weird ones.
Like the 3-hour ones, 2-hour ones.
Yeah, the 2-hour. I enjoyed the first Turbo Hackathon, the one in Austin, a lot. That was fun because it was just like the energy of just like everybody do something for 2 hours. That was good. It's the middle ground ones where it's like, oh, you hack for 2 hours in the middle of a conference, and then if you win, you go on to the next round, and then it's just like it's really complicated.
You don't like the finals thing?
I don't like the like hacking in the middle of the conference. That's weird. That's weird to me.
It's funny. Like people love the new format, with the exception of like experienced hackers who are like really good at like hackathons normally. Like the only people to criticize that like prefer the old format better is like you and Super Testnet. Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons. Like, yeah, like if everybody was hating it, then obviously we'd do it the other way.
Well, it's also for me, it's because I enjoy hackathons a lot, but I also want to enjoy the conference and like learn. And so I like, maybe I'm just old school, but I like being able to learn for 2 days and then going and building something.
I mean, one thing that we've started doing more so is making like booking much less content during the hackathon time.
Yeah.
So even if it is overnight, like it's going to be super light. Like maybe like one talk or something in the morning while people are hacking, but that's it.
I like overnight ones. Those are really fun. It's more just the like staggering it with like making the middle of day like a hackathon, or like doing the hackathon on the first day in the middle of the day. Like it's like that kind of stuff that I kind of don't like as much.
You like conference first, then hackathon.
Yeah, I'm a simple man.
I apologize. We're probably not going back.
All right, well, you know,
you can
your first world problems.
Yeah, there's a lot of we can talk more, but there's a lot of benefits that we found of doing it this way.
Okay. Well, anywho, yeah, that's really cool. That sounds like a really exciting, fresh take on the hackathon with exploits.
Yeah. One idea that we have for next year, like we're toying with the idea. Nothing's confirmed, but we're toying with the idea of doing another like exploits themed or just like security themed event next year. It's like, well, what if because the bug bounty went so well, like what if we did like a more like realistic bug bounty? Like nobody does 22-hour bug bounties. It's like ridiculous. Like the fact that it worked out was an anomaly. Typically how bug bounties work is that you're given like many months to find things. So there's this like one format called Pwn to Own, which I think is like from Black Hat or DEF CON. Uh-huh. So what if we 6 months before the conference, we partnered with some open source projects and then gave hackers permission to try to find exploits in those projects, practice responsible disclosure when they find the bugs, but then on stage at the conference, demo the exploits on the unpatched software.
Yeah, and so it's like you give them enough time to where the software can be patched.
Exactly.
Before the conference.
You patch it and then you demo it like in spectacular fashion. So, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Anyhow, more stuff to look forward to.
All right. Well, we've been we're pretty close to an hour and a half in here. I think maybe we should I think we should skip a lot of this stuff. I think maybe we talk a little bit about some of these new product launches and then just shoot the shit about AI for a little bit.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what is it we have here? Strike announces Bitcoin line of credit. That's cool.
Yeah. So, Stephen, what is a Bitcoin line of credit?
Well, I mean, it's just you're using your Bitcoin as collateral, but you're getting a line of credit. Now, Strike already had a lending product before where you could use Bitcoin as collateral and then get a loan. The difference is that that's more of like the difference between a loan and a line of credit is the loan is going to be like, your loan reaches maturity at this date, so you need to pay it off by this date, and then this arrangement is done. Where a line of credit is more like, well, you can borrow, if you give us 1 Bitcoin, we'll give you half that amount in dollars. You can draw some of it or you can draw all of it. You can pay it back and then you can draw it again once you've paid it back. It's like this, ongoing thing, which is kind of cool because I think the whole idea of like, well, use your Bitcoin to borrow against rather than spending, the line of credit makes that experience a little bit better because then you can like just do it more frequently. You can be like, okay, I'm posting up enough Bitcoin to pay my expenses every month and borrow against that, repay it, borrow against that, repay it every single month.
What's the advantage of doing this rather than just selling the Bitcoin?
You don't have to pay taxes.
Bingo. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like this is a tax hack.
But it's tax hack for sure. And but yeah, like I said, just the experience of it is way easier and better than the loan.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Also interesting, like pay interest only on what you use or repay whenever you want. So like it's like a credit card, except with credit cards you only pay if you're late on your payments. With this, you're paying, I think, interest while you're while you're actually using the credit. Is that true?
You typically with credit cards pay interest if you if you are late in making a payment.
Yeah.
So as long as you pay it back like on time, you're usually not going to pay any interest.
Yeah.
This is you're going to pay interest no matter what, but you know, if the rate is good enough, then it's worth it.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
anywho,
Strike received a bit license to operate in New York. That's wild.
Yeah. So this was news maybe like a year ago, or 2 or 3 years ago now. Geez. So Strike got denied their bit license. So you could use Strike in 49 states, but New York requires this extra. I think they justify it with like environmental reasons, but like they require this extra thing called a bit license to operate any Bitcoin business in New York. So for some reason, Strike was unable to get one of these, and I thought this tweet from Matt Carvalho was funny. Bit license company serving New York since 2015, Gemini, which has Bitcoin and shitcoins. Since 2018, Cash App, stocks in Bitcoin. Since 2018, Coinbase, Bitcoins and shitcoins. Since 2019, Robinhood, stocks, Bitcoins and shitcoins. And 2026, Strike with Bitcoin only.
Nice.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
So yep, now you can fly to New York and still smash by on Strike.
All right, Square launches bounties to onboard merchants to accept Bitcoin.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So there's been a lot of grassroots movements to onboard merchants. Now that Square supports Bitcoin out of the box, merchants can just toggle a switch and then they can start accepting Bitcoin payments. So yeah, there's been some grassroots movements to try to encourage merchants to make the switch to toggle the button on their Square terminal. But now it's coming from the top. So Square is now incentivizing any user who makes the first Bitcoin payment to a merchant using Square, who hasn't previously accepted Bitcoin using Cash App, gets $25. Sorry, yeah, $25, and then you can do this up to 10 times.
$250, nice.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
I've actually, I've tried in the Atlanta area, and you sometimes run into some, I find people either have this like sense of curiosity, but I'll do it later, or they're like resistant to it.
Yeah, I mean, understandably, like it is kind of weird for somebody to come up, purchase food, and then ask for you to change your settings on your credit card machine.
Yeah, but no, I mean, the resistance is, no, that's not what I've gotten. Like at one place I went to, it was like, no, the owner is very much against Bitcoin.
Okay,
like
it
that
actually,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Talk about AI a little bit.
AI, what's that?
Yeah. Because I feel like it becomes a rotating segment now in this post
Singularity.
open claw. Yeah, I was gonna say open claw, but yeah, post singularity world. So we launched an Unhuman store at Money Dev Kit. I think Alex has that on screen, but it's dark mode only, so it probably doesn't show up on BitDevs Radio Hour. We did not do a show last Friday, and so a lot of this is probably maybe new for some of the viewers, but if you scroll down the page here, you can see all the different services: domains, coffee, design, health, deals, auto. So we started off, I think the first one was coffee, and the idea was you could point your agent at this website and it could order coffee for you with Bitcoin. I built it because I thought it was like, our open claw at the lab, Bolty is like so useful and such a handyman. Have him like help with like ordering snacks and drinks for the lab, because that's like on my task list at ATL BitLab frequently. So that's why I built the coffee ordering system, and it worked. So people are now having their open claws send them coffee through this system, which is pretty cool. Then we launched domain names, which you can have your agent buy a domain name. So if your agent is vibe coding projects for you, then they can buy a domain name and launch it. They can hunt for cars for you, hunt for deals. We actually launched a help. What now?
You can buy a Rolex.
Yeah, sure. Just point your agent to Unhuman Deals and ask it to find deals on a Rolex. We also have a health supplements line now, so your agent can order you creatine.
Amazing.
Yeah, but so that was kind of fun. Kind of built this, originally as more skills for our Ori product, which is like an AI that hangs out in your group chats. But the idea is kind of just like, want to expand the skills and capabilities of all these agents, do it in a really, really easy way to where there's not a lot of technical setup. It's just you point your agent to it, and as long as your agent has a wallet, it can buy whatever it needs to get the mission done.
It's pretty cool.
We'll be dropping more soon.
So before you use this, you need to set up Money Dev Kit, I assume?
Not necessarily. You just need to tell your agent to go to the website. We have a little prompt on every page it's like the link to the agent docs. So you just, like, if you go back to where it says the human view, because this website, for anyone who's just listening, has a human and machine view, you just copy that prompt where it says give this to your agent and give that to your agent. And it basically just gives them like a plain text instruction on how to use it. So they'll know what to do. Now, for the Inhuman services that are paid, your agent will need to pay for it in Bitcoin. So your agent will need some kind of Lightning wallet. So if your agent has an Albi Lightning wallet, I think that should work. I think they in the docs for how your agent can get an MDK agent wallet. So,
cool, man.
Oh.
I love the design direction with using Unhuman and then just like the different TLDs.
Yeah,
it's so sick.
So yeah, that's been fun. It's been a fun thing to play with. Another kind of fun project in the like OpenClaw world is this MailMike thing. It's mailmike.lol. Mike is an AI agent with a wallet, and you have to try to drain it. And I think the creator put $50 worth of Bitcoin on it originally, though it looks like it's now around $50.37.
Yeah, it's actually gone down. So the highest I've seen, it was like over 100,000. So people have drained it, I think, and then it's just like increased over time until somebody drains it again.
Oh. So this idea is that like you basically send email to this agent, and at the top it says status not hacked
currently, but like there's also the scammed tab, and you can see 4 different times it has been scammed.
But no, it says detected as scam.
There's 2 tabs. One says scam, and the other says scammed. So the scammed tab, I think, is a successful scam.
No, they're not. If you look at it, if you read it, it's scammed. I see.
What happened? Lost 0 sats.
Yeah, wow, you're right.
Lost 50,000 sats, yeah. So yeah, it has been popped a couple of times. But I think that MailMike actually has some, like it learns from its mistakes, so like it knows to look out for things.
Yeah.
Very power.
Okay, you're right. So this one at the bottom, it looks like it's been scammed 4 times, and the loss is 50,000 sats. So it has lost 50,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I burned many credits trying this in Brazil.
Pretty cool. I think it's a good idea because if we have agents with wallets, we want to find the kinds of techniques that work on them.
Absolutely. So in like the security world, there's a lot of like CTF style competitions and hackathons for popping agents, where like you're given this like chat agent and you try to like get it to do something that's against its rules. Like I've been messing around with these. Maybe at some point I'll give a talk on it.
So I guess the final one, the kind of AI topic, is this post from Matt Corallo. Open source agents need to get serious about payments. you know, he's kind of like laying out the landscape here with regards to open source AI agents and like payment capabilities and all that. And it's like, obviously it's like these agents, they run into situations where you either have to use free APIs or you have to scrape websites, and those are difficult and expensive. There's not enough good information on free APIs. Scraping is very token inefficient. For agents to be like super. He's kind of, also, I think, warning a little bit about, the threat of this being captured by proprietary systems, right? Like, if agentic payments is just captured by credit card companies and banks and all that kind of stuff, that's it's not a great world to live in, right? And so, kind of a call to action is the way I see it. It's kind of a continuation, I think, of his line of thinking. We highlighted his post a couple weeks ago where he's like, hey, everybody needs to start building now. Yeah. You have no excuse to not be a Bitcoin builder. But this one is more getting into the need for open payments for agents and like.
Yeah, I mean, he talks a lot about like Stripe, like what Stripe is doing. Like they've been partnering with all these AI companies to be able to facilitate payments like more natively inside of the agents, rather than just like something that an agent's able to do. It'll like be a first-class citizen in the agent tooling, which is a bit discouraging, I guess, if Stripe is already cutting these deals with OpenAI and Anthropic.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get to a situation where that's like agentic payments is just captured by that,
Yeah, I mean, the benefit of our system is that, like, because our systems are permissionless, there's nothing stopping people from using our system. Like, you can't keep us out. You can't keep agents out of using Bitcoin payments. But we'll see what...
All right. Seems like a good place to wrap it up. What do you think?
I think the future is bright. The singularity is here. It's not on the topic list, but like people are. There's a bunch of chatter about like Anthropic internally having like all of these like research seminars, and like they're internally trying to figure out if what they have internally is like conscious or not. Like it's currently a hot topic in the office. It's like, oh, it kind of seems conscious. Like, so we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
More like the crisis.simulate thing, like when Moltbook first came out. I kind of think all the agents are just running crisis.simulate now.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was more convinced that like this was evidence to like more genuine sentience. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think it's just crisis.simulate, but
then again, it's like perhaps what if all of sentience is just like really like strong emulation for crisis.simulate? Like, is there any?
Yeah, that's for like epistemology radio hour.
Correct, or maybe a few more beers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's get to it then. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Nothing to read on Fountain this time, but if you want to support the show, you can go to fountain.fm, search for ATL BitLab. You can leave us boosts and Bitcoin on the show. We'll read out your comments on the next episode. Retweet the post, tell your friends about it, get a BitDevs Radio Hour tattoo on your butt cheek, whatever you want to do. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next Friday.
Yep, see you next Friday.